And then for the high blood pressure, this is a new protocol we got from the president of Standard Process, actually, and it's what he takes to keep his blood pressure down. And it's 6 to 9 a day. He says, usually I can just do 6 OR checks a day and I'm fine, but sometimes he'll do 9 OR checks a day. And the AC carbamide, 12 a day. And if you want to explain how that works for the high blood pressure with the OR checks and opening things up.
Well, it's the hyaluronic acid that's heavy in the OR checks. It's very calming. It has a very calming effect in the central nervous system, especially through the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the vagal influence on the heart is what slows it down. And so it doesn't have to be in hyperdrive all the time. So
It's got orchic extract in it too.
And then the AC carbamide is carbamide. Before they had chemical diuretics like Lasix that just open up the channels in the kidney, and all this fluid is coming out with very important minerals come flowing out with that forced open kidney. They used carbamide. Carbamide is a plant. It comes from plants, and what it does is it balances the osmolarity that exists between the extrastitial fluid and the cellular fluid inside the cells. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey, we need a camera adjustment. You're in the picture and I'm kind of off the side. There we go.
We decided to do this a little differently today. In fact, we were going to do it completely differently. We weren't going to even have a slideshow because we've just had so much going on in our lives. And if you notice, we're in our little scrubs and jackets and everything. And your green pin. Oh, you got your shirt. You got it on right side out this time.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad of that.
We are going to be filming right after this webinar. So that's why, yeah, there you go. That's why we're all dressed up like we're going to go to work.
Yeah, we're out on the deck.
But welcome everybody. If somebody will type into the chat that they can hear us, okay? Because we did a sound check with our webmaster before, but just want to make sure you, oh yes, loud and clear.
All right, let's
Thanks,
get
Mike.
the road on the show.
I haven't heard from you forever. Thanks for watching. Everybody, Danielle, oh, everybody, this is great. Okay, let's get the show on the road. You know, we should have a remote. Well, I'll just reach up and click. Nope. Okay, there's our two little smiling faces, and look, we have our little outfits on. My hair's a different color, but that happens often. Okay, wanted to talk about this a little bit because as you've noticed, we have not been getting a lot of podcasts out. We've been super busy, but you have access to Jack every single Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. I know a lot of our VIPs don't even know that you do radio. You do local radio,
I didn't know that.
No. So you can hear it all over the world, but especially, of course, in the United States. We have people that actually have asked questions from all over the world, but all you do is go to the App Store and download the app called Simple Radio, and then 7 a.m. Mountain Time, so adjust accordingly for where you live. He's live every day, and so you'll get the latest. Every Wednesday. You used to be live every day for 20, 30 years.
Back when I was a little crazier than I am now.
Because there's so many new updates. Just yesterday was Dr. Fauci, the big update with that. We got another big update about the 17-year-old athlete that scored 18 points in a basketball game. The next day he got his shot and he got brain clots in the brain. And this is right here in our town. And
blind.
Yeah, he can't see now.
No.
He's out of the hospital, he's home, but his condition hasn't changed. We just listened to a webinar. Thank you, Ray Taylor for sending us that. We just listened to Robin Openshaw, the green smoothie lady. Yeah, she does a lot of really cool things. I think some of these people are coming back around to not just doing green drinks, but doing all kinds of different drinks, but like Mary's milkshake. But she's got some really good information, and she interviewed the mother of that athlete that was disabled. I mean, he could have died very easily. He had a big clot in his jugular vein and
2 in the brain.
And 2 in the brain, and outside the brain and inside the brain. And the doctors said it can't be the shot and sent him home with
a neck brace.
A neck brace that he had a pulled muscle.
That compressed on the clot.
Yeah. Could have died, but he's still not doing too well. But anyway, these new updates, we can't keep up on all of them. There's so many, but Jack, every Wednesday, and sometimes I have gone in and done the show with him too, but every Wednesday he does it. So please remind yourself, put an alarm in your phone or something, because I don't think people realize how much access you can get to him. So well, not that much access.
That's awfully sweet.
Just a little bit of access. Anyway, we talked a lot about Dr. Zach Bush. I've had this slide up many times, but he's a triple board certified medical doctor, and he's come from the dark side over to into the light. Into the light. He used to try to develop drugs for chemotherapy and all kinds of different things. He's become a good friend of ours. I'm not a good friend, but his national sales rep has become a good friend of ours. She's been in our office for 2 weeks off and on, talking about this new product we brought into our office. Which is what Jana's asking for over there. Yeah, well, we're going to talk all about it in a minute, but it's been 20 years since we brought a new product into our office. Really, I mean, we have a few essential oils. Well, yeah, and our own products. Well, yes, but as far as somebody, other than that, and only because this is such a brilliant product do we bring it in. Here's a new, well, no, this is an old video of Zach Bush in 2016. It's incredible. This is before COVID. He was the person that actually predicted COVID would start in Wuhan. 1 year before it happened. At least, yeah, about a year. So this is old, but he's talking about things here. He's like, and that was based on, because they were having a conference on pollution in Wuhan. And he said, because of the massive air pollution, 1, the tremendous amounts of glyphosate, number 2, and number 3, the massive vaccination rates in that area, all 3 of those heavy polluting effects would be the next big coronavirus outbreak. Yeah. 1 year before it happened. Yeah, my phone is killing me. So anyway, we've talked about him a lot. So we decided to bring in his product called Ion Gut Health, which is already having amazing reports coming back in. There in the picture there in the bottom left is this is all about reestablishing the structural integrity, the physiological integrity of the lining of the gut wall. You know, the lining, the intima there with the erythrocytes is only 1 cell thick. Yeah. There's only 1 cell that divides what's flowing through the alimentary canal and your immune system, the majority of your immune system, that is just about 3 or 4 millimeters deep inside the tissue. It's a half the size of a hair. The cell. The cell. If you take 1 hair, and my hair's, kind of fine. Right. Half the size. And the reason this is an issue, that it wasn't an issue 300 years ago, is because of the tremendous use of pesticides, herbicides that, some of them are water soluble, they wash off in the rain, but a lot of them aren't. They're oil-based, and they end up in the food, and then they end up in your gut. And that picture there on the far left is what the gut wall should like. Those are 1-dimensional or 2-dimensional pictures of the cells lining the gut wall. The middle picture is what happens. It's what glyphosate does. It just rips open the tight junctures. Now, the picture in the left, everywhere you see a cell touching another cell, there's very tight junctions there. And they're tight to make sure the stuff in the tube stays in the tube and doesn't get into the blood, which is where all allergies come from.
as well as half of our disease processes. In the middle, that's what it looks like with glyphosate in the diet. And it's actually even raining glyphosate now. Some recent studies show the rain coming out of the sky has glyphosate in it.
You can't get away
Because
from it.
where the fields have glyphosate, the evaporation is carrying the glyphosate molecules up into the clouds. And when they condense and rain, it's raining glyphosate.
It's in our water too.
And then the next picture is what happens after, in some cases, after a few minutes of taking the ion gut health.
Do you notice the junctures are even brighter and stronger? Do you see how bright they are? And also this only lasts for about 6 to 8 hours. So well, we'll get to that. Let me show you the next slide, or the next thing. So this is a gut strengthening soil derived supplement. They drilled down to the Jurassic period,
60 million year old
65 million year old
material.
Yeah.
And what great geologic, paleontologic event happened 65 million years ago?
The dinosaurs got wiped out.
How could you have such huge, gigantic, massive creatures that these skeletons indicate with, the soil we have today could never produce the kinds of nutrition that even the plant eaters back there would eat to create such massive bodies. Something happened besides an asteroid or coronal flare, whatever it was that killed life on the planet. Because even with an asteroid, you're only going to have the dust in the air for a little bit of time. Something else happened, and it was the end of the soil. It was the death of the soil.
Yeah.
And now the average farm soil in the Midwest today is less than an inch thick. That's why they have to spray and spray and spray and spray, pre-till, post-till, just the tremendous amount of chemicals that end up in commercial foods. So this solution here, this material comes deep in the earth, down to, as Mary was saying, back to the time of the dinosaurs, bringing the soil messaging system that is there to reconstitute the most important soil in your life, the microbiome inside your gut. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay because we got a lot to cover here, but 1 teaspoon, just a teeny amount. So this great big bottle lasts a long time. But here's something you may not have known. Did you know that your gut microbiome starts in your sinuses way up here? So you need to protect the tight junctures of your sinuses also. So Dr. Zach Bush came out with this product. It's the exact same product as the Ion Gut Health.
Just a different delivery system.
Yeah, in a form that you can squirt it in. And
I do that twice a day.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to here. So it latches the cells together like a zipper to regulate what can and cannot pass into your lungs. See, that's what's so important with this spray versus even the Ion Gut Health. This stops the big bad bouncers from bad things getting into your lungs. So we're really impressed with this product. You just spray it 2 squirts morning and night in each nostril. So here's all the products. Interestingly enough, this product right here comes in 32 ounce, 16 ounce, and I think an 8 ounce, I'm not sure.
Travel.
Yeah, but also they have a kids version, and it's the exact same product, but the kids version just has different dosage on the back. For kids under 2, I think it's a half a teaspoon. It's tasteless.
We've had many demonstrations of it in the office, and kids have no problem drinking it.
No, it tastes like water. We also have it for your pets. It's again the exact same product, so you can just fill up. You can just use this if you want, but
pets have guts.
Pets
have microbiomes.
We love our guts. And there's the sinus spray, and there's a little travel one, and I put that by my bed too, so you can just squirt it in the morning first thing, because it's best on an empty stomach. So that's the products that we now carry on our website, and this is a whole new thing for us. And don't forget the pump. So you can either do 1 teaspoon, which is kind of hard to pour out, or you can just get this pump, one-time purchase. We're selling it for $5, but it's normally $14 on their website. So we'll tell you a little bit more about the great pricing in just a minute. So we're going to jump right in. That was your little commercial, and we're going to jump right in because we
Usually we don't jump in until 35 after the
well,
hour.
we're jumping right in. So Pat from Washington State wanted to know about heart disease and insomnia.
Now, this is a situation where I need a lot more information.
Yeah. Well, we have another slide
Weight,
on this.
family history, what diagnoses or diagnosis has occurred.
Are you cold?
Yes, I'm freezing. just for this. Now I'm warmer.
Okay.
Oh, now I'm colder.
I'm never cold.
Oh,
Okay.
now I'm warmer. So here, it was around 1910, 1911 when the New England Journal of Medicine had its first peer-reviewed published article from a doctor in Boston who was a cardiac surgeon. And there weren't very many cardiac surgeons back then because they healed heart problems back then with herbs and foods,
Right.
which were much more effective than drugs. And so there weren't a whole lot, but in this article, he writes, he said, I recently had, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, I recently had this patient recently pass away. And on autopsy, the major arteries of the heart, the coronary arteries, were all full of this white, pasty, plaquey, gooey, goopy mess. Has anybody else out there seen anything like that anywhere?
That was when?
About 1910, 1911.
So we didn't have it before the glyphosate,
No,
before.
No, we had cancer before 1910.
Yep.
We did not have heart disease before 1910.
Still the
People
number one
died of
killer.
heart attacks here and there, but heart attacks, heart disease wasn't even on the top 10 killers, according to the CDC in 1910. So what made the difference? Well, this is about the time that white flour was introduced into the American diet. Not only is white flour diabetes standing there at the bus stop waiting to get on the bus with you, it's also lacking in serious vitamins that are necessary for proper heart function. We have a device in the office called the heart sound recorder that measures heart function in real time. And I can do a heart scan on somebody, have them chew up Cataplex B Core, B-C-O-R-E, because it has the missing vitamin in it, vitamin B4, that the FDA says doesn't even exist. Well, it does exist. It's the anti-paralytic vitamin. And so when I have people chew up about 4 or 5 of those, wait 15 or 20 minutes, then do another heart scan, immediate improvement in heart function. Now, what made the difference? Our diets moved away from the foods Mother Nature intended. Your heart is the first organ to suffer from malnutrition. It's the first organ to improve with correct nutrition. And so I recommend Cataplex B Core for anybody over the age of 35.
And we're going to have a slide on that in just a minute. And then insomnia is a long topic.
There are so many causes.
But I would recommend something I'm going to recommend for another guy that asked about insomnia. It's a big problem right now. Just hold on and we'll get to that. The next one is, oops, we went 2, but that's okay. Enrique in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that's not his real name. But anyway, like to nourish my liver and my heart. And father and papa died of heart attacks at 69 years old. So I had a really good friend of ours that came in to see me, I think in like 2010, maybe 9, a long time ago. It's when we're upstairs, so I don't know. And his father and his brother had passed away really early in their 50s from heart disease. So he thought that he was going to have that happen too. So he came in, to prevent that, although we can't really use that word. And so we put him on a huge heart protocol. He's doing really well now. It turned out his wife died all of a sudden from cancer, and he's still alive. And they had lots of insurance on him because he thought he was going to die, but he hasn't. And his heart is doing wonderful now. It's all the usual stuff that we do, which is the Cataplex B Core that he talked about, and the cardiotrophin, and a few other supplements. But what I would recommend you do, Enrique, is do a symptom survey on our website, and give us a little more information. As far as nourishing your liver, I love that, because what we like to do, instead of doing these massive cleanses and these green drinks and all this stuff, we like to build the organs of excretion. So we like lots of fat in your diet, lots of protein, lots of meat, lots of butter and cream and fish and soups and everything you love. We want that in your diet. If your father and your grandpa followed the current medical advice, they would be eating no salt, and lots of vegetables,
No fat.
And overcooked meat, and that's a
And
recipe.
little of that.
Yes, and lots of sugar, because they never say anything about sugar. When you go in with a heart attack, they don't ever say, hey, you need to get off sugar, because it's causing a never-ending ulcer inside of your heart. So the liver.
Now, the fact that they're in Puerto Rico, you and I've been to Puerto Rico once, and I would think a large portion of their diet would be coming from the ocean. I mean, we didn't do any dietary studies when we were there.
Yeah.
But the kind of ocean life that's available, but you still got to watch out for those vegetables, the fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are just way overplayed as far as I'm concerned, because there's very little distinction between commercially grown fruits and vegetables and organic. And even with organic today, there's traces of glyphosate starting to show up, but it's far better than the commercial stuff.
It's in the air.
And
he's a longtime podcast listener too. So
oh, is he?
He should know.
Well, also, this whole idea behind vitamin B4 that they discovered back in the 1930s, the antiparalytic, it had an awful lot to do with the discovery with vitamin B1, B2, and B3, and how important they were, all three of those, for the skin and for the nervous system. But the thing that they discovered about B4 was that it was the vitamin that converted the chemical energy of your food into the electrical energy of the heart. And when the heart isn't getting that lightning strike, blub dub, lub dub, lub dub, lub dub, it's going to slowly waste away. And if it isn't supplemented with the B4 vitamin,
the antiparalytic vitamin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the one was associated with vitamin B1 thiamine and beriberi. And beriberi comes from an African dialect. I forget which one. It's not Swahili, but it's one of the African dialects that means I can't. And so when the English got in there and the Dutch, and they brought in their medical people to support their troops, the medical investigators started to find out. This is when they started discovering the vitamins. Vitamin A was the first one they found. B was the next one. In fact, they thought vitamin D was a B vitamin at one time. And it was one of the first Bs until they realized it wasn't part of the B family at all. It was a steroid-based chemical. And by that time, they had, Svent Gorney had discovered vitamin C, and then they put D in line after that. And the whole history of vitamins is just fascinating, but they weren't here 100 years ago. Now, while they've been in Mother Nature's diet since man and woman were first on the planet, or whatever story you believe, we didn't know anything about vitamins 100 years ago. It wasn't until the late 20s, early 30s, we began to discover them.
Okay, let's move to the next one. I kind of feel like we didn't answer Jana's question about the eye on gut health, because she's had rheumatoid arthritis for a long time. And I have to tell you, the most important thing for rheumatoid arthritis, the most important thing for everything, is getting your gut healthy. And we have, as you know, backed off of using probiotics. In fact, I don't think we use them hardly at all anymore, because number one, it's a monocrop. It's the same bacteria going in all the time, which isn't good. And also it only works while you're taking it. So it doesn't fix anything. And you know us, we like to go very foundational. So the ion gut health. So our gut protocol has gotten pretty simple. We're doing now ion gut health, Zymex wafers, and lactic acid yeast wafers for about everything. And then we throw in long life energy enzymes for the pancreas, which is huge as far as gut health. Then you should be able to, for you, I know, Jana, we have thrown in some beta-col, which helps with the pain, but I think you are right. You're exactly on that. You need to just simply get your gut healthy. So those 3 products would be very important for you if you haven't gotten the Ion Gut Health yet. We've actually been selling Ion Gut Health since last winter.
Yeah.
But we had their national sales rep come in. Oh, and we might get Zach Bush on a podcast.
Yeah.
If we do that, that would be so great. We will do another podcast. Okay, let's move on. So the question, Anne from Pennsylvania said anti-aging. It's not really a question. She just said that's her health concern. So of course, we've often talked about our long life energy enzymes, that people, when they get about 40, their pancreas is kind of being blown out. It's just overworked and not working really well. By about age 40, it's getting lower and lower. Some people say age 35, but that's why people start aging about age 40, because you can't really tell when somebody's in their 20s or 30s, but when they get in their 40s, it's like, yeah, she's in her 40s. So if you want to write down that coupon right there, you can get 15% off your next order online for that. So I would recommend taking that for anti-aging.
Yeah, and all these other questions that are showing up here, primary biliary cholangitis.
We're getting to that.
We'll get to these. And Kamut flour, we'll get to these.
We will?
Yep.
But Octavio, oh, that's great. Okay. So forbidden question number, I don't know what this is. Pat, oh, no, it's down at the bottom. Sorry, I thought it was going to a brand new one.
Every.
It's actually Avery.
Oh.
I spelled it wrong. Anyway, he said, but that's not his real name anyway. I spelled his wrong name wrong. Our standard processed supplements totally organic. The farm is organic. Why aren't there bottles labeled organic? That's a good question.
Wonderful question.
I get asked that all the time. Their lands are all organic. But
when you read the ingredients, whenever you're seeing anything referring to a vegetable, a plant, or anything, those are organic.
They're organic, but here's the problem.
But there's other things in there.
They put glandulars in their products. That's why we like them so well. Just like our long life energy enzymes, we put glandulars in it, and there's no real. They do buy most of their, not most. They try to buy all they can from organic
animal sources
that have eaten only organic feed, but there's not enough. And as we've said before, animals have livers and kidneys and microbiomes and lungs.
Good point.
They can get everything out. So, and then you have your own liver and kidneys and microbiome and lungs and colon and skin and everything. So it's not as critical for animals. Dr. McBride often talks about people that could only afford to eat pigeons, and they got better. And I think pigeons are pretty dirty, aren't they? Kind of like the rats, flying rats.
Flying rats, yeah.
Yeah, but all their plants are organic. In fact, when we were out at their farms, we talked to the head farmer, and she said that we're trying to buy up all the land we can because they're building houses on this land. But worse than that, the Monsanto genetically modified wheat and corn and everything from Canada, can come down on the wind and if Monsanto finds one seed in their plants that they can tell genetically is from their Monsanto seeds, they will force them to have all their plants be Monsanto.
That's a crazy law out of Congress, but Monsanto had enough money to buy that law.
Yeah, so they're really scared. They're in Wisconsin, and so they're close to Canada, and everything in Canada is genetically modified. Monsanto, all their wheat, all their corn, canola, everything is all genetically rapeseed, actually.
Well, yeah, it's either GMO or it's hybridized to a point that it might as well be.
It won't produce.
Yeah.
The seeds won't produce. You have to buy new seeds every year. So anyway, they go to great lengths. Their topsoil is so thick that they can't find the bottom of it.
Standard process
Standard
farm.
processes farms. So that where they grow their stuff is where the glaciers used to be, and they backed off for thousands of years and laid down that mineral rich soil. They think it's probably the most mineral rich soil on earth right there in Wisconsin. So, but that's why it's not organic. Now, on this same subject, I want to tell you something that's really fascinating. We met with our compounder for our long life energy enzymes and our Asia's thyroid recently. And we asked him a question. Again, actually, we brought somebody with us and they asked this question because we've heard this before, but I wanted to pass it on to you because people have asked us, why aren't the herbs in our two products organic? And the founder of this compounding plant, he compounds supplements he's done it for 40 years, all kinds of multi-level products and everything. By the way, he says ours is the only product he gives to his wife out of all those years and thousands of supplements, because it's all whole foods. But he said, we can put organic herbs in your products. They'll be more expensive, but he said, I don't think they're nearly as good. He says the herbs we source are wild. They're out there with the weeds and the trees and the flowers and the grass. And he said that's the way Mother Nature makes herbs, and they source them. They're called wild herbs. He says the organic herbs are on a monocrop. They're planted where it's not natural. They're all planted in this huge field, just like ashwagandha or withania or echinacea or whatever. And it's this big field of just that plant. He says it's not natural. And he says, and they're more expensive too. And he says, and they're not as potent as the ones that we have in our Lee enzymes and are organically bound. And it's sad because it's a big, huge thing right now to have organic herbs, on your product. But after talking to him, we realized we have a better product with having wild herbs in our product. And the same with Standard Process. They don't have all organically fed organs, but they only get the top USDA triple certified, whatever. They're not sourcing horrible glandulars. And we get ours from New Zealand, the cleanest animals on earth, apparently. And you guys all know that because we ran out of Lee enzymes for a while, and we're kind of having the same problem right now. So we have a big announcement. Standard Process, we have been in negotiations with SP. We've sold as Standard Process for so long that we have some insider pricing. It took a while, 3 weeks of talking back and forth, but we now have the lowest prices you can get anywhere. But you do have to call us. You have to call us. You've got a toll-free number there, text your order or email your order for Standard Process products. And anyway, so this is a huge announcement for us. We've kind of leaked it through on our newsletter that we have the lowest prices, but this now is set in stone and you have to call our office.
But you have to order it through the office.
Yeah, you can't order it on our website anymore, but you'll want to order it. And you can just call in the middle of the night, leave a text or leave an email or just leave a voicemail
message
on our phone. Yeah, so it's kind of a big thing for us right now. Okay, Travis in Minnesota, MN, is that Minnesota?
Yep.
Do you think Standard Process products are likely to have
lectins, oxalates, and other Sure. Yeah, the answer is yes. Now, let me explain the yes. Because there are some broadleafed, like kale, there's some broadleafed green plants in there, Swiss chard, a few other things that have some lectins or some oxalates. And then the lectins, I'm trying to think, there's a couple of lectin plants in there, but we're talking about pills that are.
You have to say a cat, sorry. Oh. Okay, go ahead.
Extremely small pills. I mean, this is not like eating a salad full of lectins or oxalates. Oxalate will, of course, is the salt version of oxalic acid. And whether it's a calcium oxalate, or which is the most common, or some other form, they have a little bit is, in these cases, a little bit is sometimes too much. And they call them anti-nutrients because they block other processes from taking place. I mean, I could go on for this half an hour and I don't want to.
Okay, give them the short answer.
Yes, the answer is yes, but they are in such small quantities that it's irrelevant. But a good question.
Oh, Lindsay asked, is there somewhere we can get a price list? We will have, I think we might have this already. Our poor webmaster has been working night and day for us. We will have all the prices on our website. You just won't be able to order there, but you can go look on our website. So that's where they'll be.
Yeah.
Or if you call the office.
Or you call the office and ask.
Yeah, I think they can send a price list. I think they can. Yeah, we have one. Anyway, so this is work in progress. And Patty asks, your major health concerns, diabetes. So I just wanted to throw in this really quick little type 1 diabetes testimonial we got. I can't read it. It's too tiny on this screen on this laptop, but I just know the story. Her kids came down with type 1 diabetes where they didn't make insulin. They started them on GAPS. That's really important. And personalized protocol. She also had celiac disease or something and terrible pain. Been trying to fix it forever. Doctors say there's no cure for celiac disease, and it just kills me. So
no, the first step for celiac is the eye on gut health and then the enzymes.
Well, we didn't have, this was back in 2016.
Yeah.
We didn't have the eye on gut health then, but now I would use that. But she said the enzymes and her kids were able to get off their insulin during the day.
Yeah.
They still had to have the time released insulin at night, but she was beyond thrilled with that. So for diabetes, that's a wonderful thing. We also did a podcast on this called Diabetes, Amputations, and eHarmony. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an early one.
That's a long, number 25. Yeah, a long time ago. So you can go listen.
And what we said in there stands today. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have changed
I mean, I
that.
would add in eye on gut health, but
Yeah, I would too.
but still, it's really good. And then Kelly from Utah said, where do I find your posted webinars and all Dr. Stockwell's Wednesday shows? I need to send them all to my family and friends.
Well, let
Okay.
me give you a warning. You'll lose your family and friends. You start sending them my radio shows. Yeah, your friends will go find another friend.
And so far, we're not posting these webinars, which is kind of sad because last month's was really, really good.
Yeah.
It was on shedding with the transmission of the virus.
Your answer is forbiddendoctor.com.
Right. But on forbiddendoctor.com, if you go up to, as the little arrow shows you, Jack's radio shows, you'll come up with all his radio shows. I think he's
Up through within a week.
he's a week or two behind, maybe. He's usually right on top of it, but we've had a lot going on. So he's a little bit behind, but they're all there, all his radio shows. We went in to name them all because they all have names and it didn't save and we haven't gotten that done. I'm really sorry. We need to do that.
Well, Bill's done a pretty good job of keeping up with the names to a certain point.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that the other day. So anyway, you can get his radio shows on our website. Our Zoom webinars are not on our website yet. We should probably start doing that. We got to figure that out. So much to do. Okay, Sean from Utah asks, please explain how a healthy immune system combats virus invasion.
Boy, that was yesterday's show. Yesterday's
Yeah,
radio
there's
show.
no virus invasion. 2 webinars ago, we talked so much about this. You know what? We can send you the webinars if you email the office at office@jackstockwell.com and say, I want the webinar on not May, April. We talk a lot about this, how there's no virus invasion. There are trillions of viruses between Jack and I right now. Well, now there's less and less. But this has been a con from the very beginning. We have trillions of viruses inside of us. You can't run from viruses. Viruses made us. Dr. Zach Bush talks about it all the time.
Yeah, viruses were here long before we were here on this planet. And as I was explaining on the radio show yesterday, which should be published within a week at forbiddendoctor.com, depending on what expert your genetic expert you're listening to, anywhere from 8 up to 20% of human DNA is viral.
Yeah.
Now, if you took one of these strands of DNA, which are of course submicroscopic, and we're to completely unroll it. DNA, when you see the double helix spiral, that's when it's unfolded and it's ready to code RNA for messaging inside the cell. But when it's not active in that, especially in mitosis, where you're causing cell division, it's rolled up in a ball and it's tightly twisted. And the experts, the geneticists tell us that if you were to take that and untwist it all the way out, one representation of human DNA inside the nucleus of a cell would be 8 miles long.
Wow.
That's how complicated that thing is. And it's the DNA that make up the genes that make up the chromosomes, 23 from mom, 23 from dad. And that's how you got your 46 to imprint the human body. But in all of that, up to 20% of it is viral. And so as this, what I think is the greatest scam ever perpetrated on mankind, slowly becomes more and more obvious as the days go by as to what's happened for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. I think we're going to be far less worried about viruses. Right now, there's trillions of viruses floating through my bloodstream, some of which are very beneficial for life. Some of them are totally inert. Your own cells create these things called exosomes. Exosomes, if you looked at an exosome under microscopy, electron microscopy, it looks exactly like a coronavirus. And they're detoxification methods coming out of the cell. Now you can find this stuff out for yourself. Just get on Google and Google exosomes, EXOSOMES, and get into PubMed and get into Medline, the government sourced medical literature research databases.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if this noise next door becomes a problem. We can go inside. You can let us know how it sounds.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that, and then the immune system isn't exactly what I always thought it was. I'm beginning to realize the immune system is something else. While it has been very much a part of keeping us alive, I'm going to look in messages. I don't see anybody saying they can't hear us.
Yeah, let us know if you can't hear us. Sorry, our neighbors are moving and they're putting in a whole new driveway.
Yeah. So anyway, just, the whole, I wouldn't worry about a virus invasion. Like I said, the viruses were here before us. When COVID finally started getting in the news about, 18 months ago, something like that, they found genetic researchers found COVID virus in the ice of the Alps in Switzerland before anybody in Europe had ever been identified as having COVID. So this stuff is just, it covers the earth like waters cover the ocean. And it gets a very bad rep.
Aha, we're done. Nope, they're going to keep going. Okay, from Deborah from Utah. Have been diagnosed with primary biliary
cholangitis.
Should we go inside? Oh, Sue says she can sound is okay.
I hear you okay, good. The synthetic Bear Bile gives me heart palpitations.
I think we better go inside.
Well, if you're having trouble, let's go inside.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know if they're going to stop. Okay. Grab that. Sorry, guys. Here, you need to see our view before we go inside. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Here we go. We're going to go inside and put it right here. Oh, that sounds better. Come have a seat. Oh, I think I went ahead. I did go ahead. Let's back up here. And let's go back to the bile. Okay, so
Guess I'm gonna sit forward here.
He says, she said, it's Deborah, I haven't felt well for a while. I just wanted to see if you are familiar with this, if there's anything else that will help me. I've tried some of the standard process things, but they haven't worked.
Okay, I need to know.
So the bile salts, I
Yeah, I
think
need
she's
to
talking,
know-
the Colacol.
I need to know what you've tried, Colacol as well as Beta Food.
Yeah, but I would try the gut health, or the Ion Gut Health, and then Zymex wafers. I'm gonna
Yeah, a lot of these things, I'm putting some cushions here behind me. A lot of these things are often gut. And the poisoning that ends up getting through the wall of the gut into the bloodstream. And as the toxins that are in our food get through those loose junctions in the gut wall, the body finds places to deposit them. And whether they might be water-soluble poisons and contaminants or fat-soluble contaminants that the liver has to deal with. And usually the liver will get rid of fat-based contaminants through the bile. And when you start having problems,
That's really important what you just said.
yeah, and you start having problems with this, we're dealing with some real serious liver issues. So I don't really know what products you've tried or what you've used up to this point.
Well, I would do the Ion Gut Health and the Long Life Energy enzymes right now. And then, you know, if you've tried Beta Food or the bile salts, you must still have your gallbladder, I guess. I mean, because I can't imagine they wouldn't have taken that out with this bad of a problem. I mean, well, actually, I can't imagine they wouldn't have,
Yes,
but maybe they do.
It looks like she's answering it.
Oh, so she does still have her gallbladder. Yay! Don't ever take out your gallbladder. I've had gallbladders that they were diagnosed as gangrene and saved them. So we just had a guy walk in our office the other day and said he went to the doctor or to an Instacare or something, he's having pain. And they said, well, we're prepping you for surgery. And he goes, you're not prepping me for surgery. What are you talking about? They're like, oh, we're going to take out your gallbladder.
No, you're not.
He goes, no, you're not. You're not doing any surgery on me today. And he turned and walked out the door. Good thing we don't have forced, what are they called? Gallbladder ectomies. I know there's a term.
Cholecystectomy.
Cholecystectomy, yes.
Yeah.
So if hopefully don't have forced passports and forced gallbladder surgeries. But anyway, the best thing you can do is, oh, she said, I can't digest foods. And she said, she'll never take out her gallbladder.
Well, have you done a symptom survey?
Yeah, we need that done.
I need more information.
I think the Long Life Energy enzymes would be really helpful for you. And I'm not just saying that because we make them. We just got another brand new testimonial from people saying, a person saying this has changed their life. In fact, Ambrosia, you were saying that this lady said, you were consulting with her. Ambrosia is our nutritionist who said that she will never be without Long Life Energy enzymes, ageless thyroid, and Zypan. She had
said yes a while ago. But
yes. Oh, you did do one.
well, this is going to require some more one-on-one consultation, kiddo.
Yeah, but I'm really sorry about that because you don't want to take that gallbladder out. You may have some liver issues. You know
Right.
what? Just go on GAPS. Just go on GAPS. Maybe we recommended that. She said, I need it. The biliary tree. Yeah. Then she said, okay. Yeah, we have many, many podcasts on how to do GAPS. You can also sign up as a VIP, but I would do the $99 a month one so you can get some really good help because you can't get help from a medical doctor on this. And I'm amazed they haven't taken out your gallbladder. It's wonderful. I'm very proud of you. Nancy from Utah said, when Jack was doing the water fasting, did he take his Lee enzymes? No.
You know, and I regret that.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, I
no.
regret that I didn't.
I wouldn't because you'll stay hungry. Remember?
Well, it depends. You know, if you trickle it down, I don't think it's be that big of an issue. But if you take a whole bunch of them at one time, Mary's right. You'll have hunger pangs.
Well, I don't think on a fast you should. But what he did do on this 18-day fast is take, for the first time on any fast,
Yeah.
was the hydrogen water.
Lots of hydrogen
And
water.
I think that's why you were able to go
Yeah.
18 days. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
anyway,
No problems with hunger whatsoever during those 18 days. It blew me away. Why did I stop? I had a lot of things I had to do with the yard and the garage, and my son coming up to help me move some things around. And I had enough energy after 18 days of fasting to see people, to bend over, take care of people, but not to do some heavy labor that I needed. So I went ahead and broke it. And it started with broth, and it's chicken broth.
Mary's milkshake.
And Mary's milkshake. And because I had to have some
And eggs.
good muscular strength. Yeah, and eggs. Muscular strength for what I had to do. So that's why I stopped. But it was the hydrogen water. I'd never used hydrogen water in a fast before.
Well, he broke my record. I barely made it 12 days on a fast, but I didn't have hydrogen water. So he was just humming along with that hydrogen water. It was really impressive. So I think that was the difference.
Could be.
I don't know. But anyway, you talked about a Baker's cyst. This showed up on the screen. This is Jack in 2015. It was right when we first came out with our Lee enzymes. There's, what's this cyst called?
Ganglion cyst.
Ganglion cyst, that's right. And there he is 4 months later. And our long life energy enzymes used to come in a white bottle when we first made them. So this was a long time ago. It looks kind of like a weird arm right there, doesn't it? But anyway, there he is before. There he is after.
Looks like a COVID vaccine arm.
So for that Baker's cyst, I would again do long life energy enzymes. This is turning into a commercial for that. And then Delilah in Oklahoma said weight loss. Well, here's another commercial. So I just took 12 this morning, 12 long life energy enzymes. I took 12 last night. I'm down to just taking it twice a day, but for a long time, I took 10, 10, and 10. I took 30 a day. Sometimes I do it during the day, sometimes too, but I lost 20 pounds, didn't even know how or why. I just wasn't even hungry. It was weird. I would take like 3 or 4 bites of something. I didn't feel sick. It wasn't like, oh, I can't eat anymore. I just was full. And I was like, I didn't have a massive detox, but I think I was pretty healthy before we started them. But some of you do. Some of you get pretty severe gas. Some get some bloating while things are breaking off, old fecal matter and everything coming out of you. I would always recommend doing enemas. I've done enemas for years. I haven't done them for a long time because I don't feel the need to do them. But man, I lost weight really fast with those. So anyway, that's my opinion. Weight loss is a tricky one. I'd have to have a lot more information. Okay, Tasha from Louisiana. My 20-year-old son has been fighting low testosterone the past few years. Any ideas what would cause this?
Well, if he's 20 and it's been going on for a few years, he may have come out of puberty into this. Is there a vaccine history here? Because vaccine damage. Not only is the COVID vaccine out there now tending towards female sterility, they're finding out in males that the sperm count is plummeting like a rock, and whatever sperm cells they find, they can't swim. They just sit there. There's no wiggly tail making them swim around. And so I've talked to patients in the past before the COVID thing showed up. Whenever I hear something that tends back towards some alteration that took place in puberty, was there a lot of soy in the diet? That's one of the first questions I ask. Was he raised on soy milk?
So goitrogen.
Was he raised on various kinds of heavy soy vegetables, in the sense that soy it's an estrogen. The soy is loaded with estrogens. And then all the plastic in our life and all the xenoestrogens that are showing up anywhere, where we're having more and more effeminate males every time you turn around. When you look into the nutritional dietary history, there's usually a tremendous amount of vaccinations and a tremendous amount of soy milk.
Okay, and then I can't remember where we talked about this, but we talked about a doctor, I think it was Thomas Cowan, talking about if you if you don't get certain diseases like chickenpox and mumps and measles when you're younger, it affects your puberty.
Yeah.
Do you remember we read so much and listen to so much that you need those childhood diseases. And of course, nobody gets them anymore because of all the vaccinations. But anyway, yeah.
So what would I recommend? Well, one of the best sources of testosterone is just heavy muscular exercise, working out, getting physically fit, and then making sure you are not consuming anything that has estrogens in it or xenoestrogens, which come from plastic, food preservatives. You've got to eat what Mother Nature made, not what Mother Nature made ended up in man's hands and then went to the supermarket. The stuff that came from Mother Nature straight to the store. You've got to get rid of all pesticides and herbicides. You got to be careful, very careful of phthalates and other kinds of chemicals that are in the house, that are in shampoos and cleaning materials. The kinds of chemicals that just inundate our entire life. All, interestingly enough, well, not all, but almost all, have estrogen components. And that's the thing you have got to be very careful of, because it will block estrogen. Now, people have this crazy idea that this is the stronger sex and this is the weaker sex. And when you look at the relationship between estrogen and testosterone in a hormonal setting, estrogen actually is very, very powerful in not sequestering, but suppressing the testosteronic effect. And so, in other words, a developing girl can have a little extra testosterone and end up a beauty queen. A boy could have a little extra estrogen and really hurt the masculinization of his body and his emotions and his endocrine system. So you've got to be so careful with estrogens.
Yeah, and I'm not going to recommend, I guess he's probably been recommended to go on testosterone. You really want to do this naturally. I've taken care of patients of our clinic that have gotten on testosterone and really messed things up, because it's a miracle drug, but it doesn't fix the reason you don't have testosterone or you have low testosterone. And so it's very tempting to use because it fixes things in the short run. But we had one patient that almost died because he thought if a little testosterone's good, a whole lot's better. And he went super hyperthyroid, and he felt like he was going to die, just shaking, terrible. Anyway, he won't touch it now. So I don't like going down that road. I suspect that's probably the only road that doctors have told you to go down, but
you just want to be careful with that.
You'd be very, very careful with that. Let's move on. Lindsay from Utah says, keeping healthy as I age. She said, we have customer care that never quits. That's beautiful. Keeping healthy, eating animal foods. That will keep you healthy. It will keep you feeding the organs of excretion, supplementing with whole foods, get all the toxic synthetic vitamins out of your life. If you're a vitamin junkie, really just eat as much as you can of what you crave: meat, eggs, fish, dairy, spices, and fermented foods. Just gonna say it. Doug from North Carolina said he's a diabetic, he has AFib and high blood pressure. You poor guy, Doug.
Well, that's just the standard malnutritive results. Yeah. You think that you're eating a good diet, the meat and potatoes and all this kind of, and I don't know that that's
salads. Everybody thinks salads. You ask anybody, I eat a really good diet. What do you eat?
Lots of salads.
Lots of vegetables.
Lots of glyphosate.
Quinoa.
Yeah, and the salads aren't going to solve the vitamin B4 problem we started this show out with.
No, and even enzymes, plant enzymes. You need enzymes from animals because you are an animal. But anyway, what we recommend quickly, I should have probably put this at the beginning, but Lee enzymes for the diabetes, 4 to 6 in the morning and the evening on an empty stomach, and then 2 to 3 with each meal. And you need to start slowly again on those. We have many, many people telling us it's anecdotal, we understand, but it's helping them get off their metformin and other problems, as the testimonial we just showed about even the insulin. So that's very good. AFib at night, I would take 3 to 4 magnesium lactate, 5 Cataplex G, the organically bound minerals, and the Cataplex B core. I wouldn't take the Cataplex B core at night. I should have put that differently. I'd take that in the morning, 4 of those a day. And then the EMF home or max unit, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But the reason I want to talk about this, because this is also an insomnia protocol. Now we have other things and I really need to get a fuller picture, but magnesium, Cataplex G, and organically bound minerals, you take those before you go to sleep and the insomnia will be much, much, much better. Not waking up in the middle of the night. I just had a patient tell me the other day, I added the G and the organically bound into them and they slept through the night till 6 a.m. So super happy about that. And then the EMF home or max unit, we're going to talk about that in just a minute, how it can also help you sleep through the night. And then for the high blood pressure, this is a new protocol we got from the president of Standard Process, actually, and it's what he takes to keep his blood pressure down. And it's 6 to 9 a day. He says, usually I can just do 6 OR checks a day and I'm fine, but sometimes he'll do 9 OR checks a day. And the AC carbamide, 12 a day. And if you want to explain how that works for the high blood pressure with the OR checks and opening things up.
Well, it's the hyaluronic acid that's heavy in the Orchex. It's a very calming. It has a very calming effect in the central nervous system, especially through the vagus nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And the vagus nerve is the vagal influence on the heart is what slows it down. And so it doesn't have to be in hyperdrive all the time. So,
It's got orchic extract in it too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then the AC carbamide is carbamide. Before they had chemical diuretics like Lasix that just open up the channels in the kidney and all this fluid is coming out with very important minerals come flowing out with that forced open kidney. They used carbamide. Carbamide is a plant. It comes from plants. And what it does is it balances the osmolarity that exists between the extrastitial fluid and the cellular fluid inside the cells. So there's a free fluid flow control that drops the hydrostatic pressure inside the body that the heart has to fight.
Yeah.
When it's pumping blood. So those two things right there have been recommended as a great support for the heart when it comes to blood pressure problems.
Yeah, so that was kind of a new one for us. It's kind of exciting. And then Mary from Texas said, oh, how'd you find out about us? Dina, my doctor suggested. Clear in Texas. That's great. Anyway, what's your major health concern? Graves' disease. I want to get off methimazole. Methimazole
is a thiamazole, I think, is the stepsister to methimazole. They stopped the production of T3 and T4.
Oh, so bad.
They say, with Graves,
it's hyper. That's what I was talking about earlier, about that guy that went really
an
hyper.
overactive thyroid. And I've studied this a bit, and I've never been able to find the connection between either elevated T3 and T4, T3, T4 imbalances, or hyper levels of T3 and T4 having a direct effect on Graves. Graves is usually a signaling problem that exists between the pituitary and the thyroid that can lead to hyperthyroid problems, because I've seen blood work of people who were diagnosed with Graves and they had perfectly normal T3, T4 amounts, had elevated TSH.
Well, they have high autoantibodies too.
And yes, they had very high autoantibodies because it's the predecessor.
Yeah.
Or it's the precursor of Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Boy, I got those words all. Say all that fast.
Well, first thing I
So-
would do is get on thytrophin PMG.
That's the first thing you do, thytrophin.
Stop
of
the
all
autoimmune attack if it's happening.
Of all the protomorphogens, that's the most popular protomorphogen standard process makes,
Yes.
thytrophin.
Thytrophin
And that will
PMG.
really calm that thyroid down.
But as I have a whole website called agelessthyroid.com that we go over what happens with the thyroid, but we also did a 3-part series on the thyroid a long time ago. This is number 26, but I just typed in thyroid on our website and number 26, 27, 28 came up. So we go in real depth of what
To hypo, hyper, and Hashimoto's.
most people are hypo, they're tired and lethargic and gaining weight. Most people are that, but some, as we've talked about today, go hyper. And actually what really happens, all of this starts in the gut. I hate to sound like a broken record, but truly your gut produces these faux hormones if you have really bad gut dysbiosis. And these fake hormones go into the receptor sites where thyroxine is supposed to be going into, but it plugs up the receptor sites. So your own thyroid starts going crazy because your pituitary is not getting the feedback mechanism to say, you got enough thyroxine in your body, you're doing great. It's saying, no, you don't have any thyroxine in your body because it's being plugged up by these faux hormones from your gut. And so your body just starts producing, your pituitary just starts shooting up going, I need your thyroid to produce thyroxine. So it keeps sending that thyroid stimulating hormone down to your thyroid. Come on. You're not going. Well, when you clean up the gut within a day or two, that's how quickly each individual cell will clean out. Your body will now start accepting thyroxine and you will be fine. That's an easy way to fix thyroid problems. But what happens, nobody ever does that. And so their thyroid just goes crazy. You do go hyper for a long time, just wear out everything. And then you go massively hypothyroid. And hopefully you don't get autoantibodies going on and autoimmune disease and everything else. But I'm telling you, it all begins in the gut. So here is our Graves' disease hyperthyroid protocol. It's on our website. We also had a lady, see that skinny lady over there, good friend of ours. She wrote a really nice testimonial because she was not feeding her thyroid. And again, it's because she started taking Ageless Thyroid and started feeding her thyroid and got better, but she was in real bad shape. We also have this Broda Barnes thyroid test where you can see if you're hyper or hypo. I took this maybe 12 years ago, long time ago. I did this for 10 days. I put the thermometer in my mouth and I was hypothyroid. So I don't know that you treat it differently, but all of it revolves around ageless thyroid. And again, we are still out of ageless thyroid because we depend on crop, what does that say there? Bad harvest. That's why we don't have ageless thyroid, because we don't have synthetic vitamins in or anything in our product, and they had a bad harvest. So we had to depend on the weather and the wind and the talent of a farmer. But we have some good news. They said it wasn't going to be until July. It's going to be in the second week in June. So super happy
That's
about
2
that.
weeks from now.
Yeah, not too bad. So this keeps happening to us, but that's because we have real food in there. Let's move on. So Sherry from Utah said a local prepper group posted our webinar to sign up for our webinar online. I wanted to put that in. That's how they found out about the Forbidden Doctor. And her question is, my husband gets anxiety. What would help that? We have tried some things, no luck. And your major health concern is your knees. They are bone on bone and bent a bit forward. I refuse to have surgery like my younger sisters have. Whew.
Well, as far as the anxiety is concerned, if this is a prepper group, I hope all your preparations are done. If all your preparations are done, then maybe the anxiety might be able to slow down.
This is down in central Utah, Richfield, Utah. Their prepper group.
If the Richfield area is not prepped
by now
for the zombie apocalypse, no place on this planet will be safe.
Yeah. So stress is a big, huge one.
Anxiety, well, you know,
I would get the EMF out of your life. I would get, and we're going to talk about that coming up here real quick, but I don't know, down in Richfield, do you have a ton of those towers everywhere? Those 3G and 4G towers. I would try that. I would get where's my phone? Oh, I don't have it. Anyway, I have a cover for my phone. Get away from all the Bluetooth you can, especially those Apple iPods.
AirPods.
AirPods, I think. Try to get wired stuff if you have to use that. But get away as much as you can. And when you can't get enough away, then you put in something that we're going to talk about, our EMF protection product that is on our last podcast. It's very important. But there's many things you can take. You want to fix the reason for it. Iodine helps with anxiety. The ageless thyroid will help with anxiety. And I think Ambrosia says, oh yeah, she just sent a text here. The EMF protector for anxiety, and valerian is a really good herb. Easy Mag has 20 different forms of magnesium in it. It's a product that we used to have in Mary's milkshake, but they've now changed it from a powdered form to a pill form because nobody liked the powder. But the pill form would be really good for his anxiety, and it would help him so much. Hemp oil complex we also carry, and Nevaton. Nevaton is a wonderful herb from MediHerb that has gotten rid of people's depression in 1 week. Now you're saying he has anxiety. That Orchex would help with that too. If he has high blood pressure, you got a nice side effect. But I would really concentrate on ageless thyroid and getting the EMF out of his home.
And her knees.
And her knees, yes. That's you.
Yeah, well, knee surgery is the most canceled surgery in our office.
Yeah, you only live in Richfield. You're not too far away.
Yeah, I take care of people with knee problems all the time without ever having to touch the knees. I just change how you walk on them. Now, it's possible that the breakdown, even if it's bone on bone is a kind of a last word the medical industry uses to convince you that it's time for knee replacement, because once it's bone on bone, there's nothing left. That's not true. The work I do changes the articular pattern between the femur and the tibia, so it puts the knee joint back into a balanced state. Now, whether I can help you with that or not, I'd have to see you. There's no charge for consultations. And I know that's a good 2.5 hour drive, but we help with an awful lot of knee problems. There's one fellow I'm taking care of who is an orchestra teacher in a local university, instrument.
You got to talk faster.
Yeah, I know, because you take up all the time. Who is probably close to 380 pounds.
Woo.
And every now and then his knee begins to bother him. He comes in and sees me. I see him a couple times.
So it's not his weight.
He can go, it's not the weight, it's the articular pattern inside the knee joint itself.
Okay.
And the work I do will normalize that pattern unless it's gone too terribly far. And bone on bone is not necessarily too far.
Good. That's really good. That's really true. You've really helped a lot of people with that. Before we get to this one, I'm going to back up a little bit. Somebody asked a question earlier, I missed it, but she said that she's been taking some products by Life Advantage that activate your NRF pathways. I've actually noticed a good difference from taking them. If you know at all about these products, I'm curious if there are any SP subs that could give the same benefits. And yes, that hemp oil complex or hemp oil complex. Yeah, hemp oil complex has
the NRF2 pathway stimulator.
Yes, it has it in it, and we've had really good success with that. In fact, I've had so many people, it's the big thing now is hemp is out everywhere, and Stena Process actually has it in a tincture too, which we have the cheapest prices because hemp is expensive. But the tincture does not have the product in it, the nutrient in it that helps open up the NRF pathway. But the hemp oil complex, the pearls do. And so there's your answer to that question. Now let's move on to this next one. Valerie from Utah. Wow. This is a big one.
My understanding from listening to your radio program every week, the reason for the high cases of COVID is because of the high cycle ratio of the PCR test. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so.
And the reason that COVID positivity is dropping off the map right now is because they turned down the cycle threshold. I'll explain some more of that in a second. If the reason for the cases is so low right now because they, meaning the doctors and government and whoever else, is because of all of the vaccine, what would be your reason for the cases going down? Is it because the PCR cycles have been changed? My main question would be, how can I go to a source to know who is in charge of the setting of these cycles? You know what?
Call Fauci.
Move to Florida. Because
Yeah.
Governor DeSantis put out an executive order in Florida that all PCR testing facilities have to state the cycle threshold. Now, for those of you, you're not sure what I'm talking about, viruses are incredibly small. Viruses are so small. If you were to reduce all the human population on the planet to the size of a virus and have them line up like they were marching, that line would be about 4.5 inches long. Nearly 8 billion people in about 4.5 inches. That's how small these things are. So when you develop a test to find out whether they're there or not, you have to do amplifications of the test. It's, in other words, 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 4 is 8, 16, 32, 64, 128 or whatever, 256, 1,000, whatever it gets up to. You have to do that. And Fauci said over a year ago, he said anything over 30 will give you false positives. Anything over 40 will give you 90 to 95% false positives. And that's where most of the cycle thresholds have been for the last year. I think I can honestly say, in my belief, I can't prove this, but I believe 9 out of 10 positive COVID cases in the last year were not positive at all.
So we talked about this last month. Here's some slides from this. This is Alex Berenson. Wow. CDC Gov only wants to examine post-vaccine infections with a PCR threshold of 28 or under. That standard ignores 90% of COVID infections. The entire epidemic would have looked very different if it had been used 28 and under.
As I predicted on my radio show 6 months ago, I said, you watch, as soon as the vaccines show up, the positive cases are going to start dropping like a rock because they're going to tune down the amplification in the PCR test.
We proved this last month. Here's a whole bunch of people that wrote in about the same thing. You know, this can't be overstated enough. Without this, there's nothing. I'm afraid this was done on purpose. I can't read that. My daughter got tested 45 cycle threshold. Of course, she's going to come up positive.
Yep.
Here's one. COVID rate is January. I can't really read
I'll tell you, with a 45 cycle threshold, they'll also find HIV. They'll find Zika. They'll find Ebola.
Been saying this since day one.
They'll find H1N1. They'll find anything that's ever been in the history of viral presence on the earth. They'll find it in your blood if they tune the cycle up high enough.
Yeah. So this was 6 months ago. Just wait until the vaccine comes. PCR rates will be standardized at 30-ish. Well, they standardized them at 28 just to show that the vaccine was effective. And they didn't do this until April. So the vaccine had been out, 3 months, and then suddenly nobody's getting COVID anymore because they changed the standard for the tests. And here it is on the CDC's
the question was,
website.
how do you find out?
Well, only in Florida.
A lot of the PCR testing people wouldn't know what in the world you were talking about.
No, but
if you ask them, what's the cycle threshold of this test? They would kind of look at you. They would look at somebody near them. They'd wait for some heavenly voice to show up and answer the question because they wouldn't know what in the world you're talking about.
But in Florida,
they have to state
what
Governor DeSantis. Governor DeSantis, by the way, says you have to say what the cycle threshold is.
So there's the CDC's own recommendations in April to drop the cycle threshold to 28 and below. So nobody's going to show up with COVID.
And why would they drop it?
Because
Why would they suddenly
wanted-
just start saying, well, why don't we just drop the magnification of the test?
They're nice people. They just didn't want anybody else getting COVID, Jack. Okay, so here's the next question. Keaton in Utah asked about eyes and cataract. The best thing that I would recommend, we just had an 86-year-old guy in our office the other day. I took a picture, but I didn't ask him if I could put it on here, so I'm not going to. But he came to me in 2003. He was diagnosed with macular degeneration. It's now 2021. He says, I haven't had any problems with macular degeneration. He said it was all closing down on him, but he's been taking iPlex and the whole protocol I put him on ever since. He says, I've never, ever run out of iPlex, which has the protomorphogen for the eyes, oculotrophin in it. And he did have an injury in one of his eyes, and so he's completely blind in one eye since then. So isn't it wonderful that he has kept his other eye completely macular degenerative free?
And as far as cataracts are concerned, those are just calcium deposits.
Yes.
Calcium deposits inside the capsule.
And you need phosphate liquid.
Phosphate liquid, probably a lot of Cataplex F to help redistribute the calcium. The cataracts can get to a point where it's just too far.
Yeah.
If, depending on your age and how bad your sight is. But cataract extraction and the implantation of an artificial lens, it is like getting a sliver taken out. It is so simple. It may come to that, but remember, it's a calcium deposition because calcium phosphorus imbalances in the body.
Okay, so I would recommend phosphate liquid 3 times a day. I would do 4 to 6 dropperfuls. It helps all kinds of other things. Calcium deposits in your heart,
Stones,
in your brain for dementia, gallstones, kidney stones, everything. It's a great product. And let's see, here's the next one. Terry from Wisconsin. Are standard processed supplements totally organic? Oh, you already said that.
well, that was in there twice.
I did that. That's my fault. Charlotte from Utah says, do you work with breast implant illness? I recently explained, but explanted, but recovery is seriously slow. Systemic poisoning from breast implant illness. Yes.
Yeah. Was it saline? Was it silicone?
I don't know, but I had my best friend years ago, 30 years ago, almost died. She had one of her breast implants burst, and she was in the hospital for weeks and weeks.
You know if it was probably silicone.
I suppose. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's too long
Yeah,
ago.
the body can handle the saline. It's the silicone problem. And as Mary said a while ago, not to sound like a broken record, I would definitely be I'd start with the gut.
Well,
Because if it was a silicone, silicones would leak. There's no doubt about it. And the body has no digestive processes or enzymes to handle silicone. So it'll end up storing it wherever it can. I really need more information. But
okay, I'm typing in the protocol here. 9 to 12, and seriously enzymes, maybe 30 a day. So I would do 3 times a day of Thymex. I would do 9 to 12 chlorophyll pearls a day, and seriously enzymes. I sent that to everybody.
Is talking about
Yeah.
cruciferous complete.
Yeah, cruciferous. I mean, there's a million things to help.
Well, the cruciferous complete
Will
is to
help the liver.
detoxify the liver.
Yep.
And the liver is the one that's got to deal with the silicone if it was a silicone leak.
Yeah. So there's so many things. That's really rough, and I really feel for you. It can also leak just a little bit all the time, and nobody knows. You don't know that you just feel terrible. You get diagnosed with Epstein-Barr and fibromyalgia and all kinds of terrible things. So that's a really scary situation. So I would do at least that. Ambrosia is our nutritionist. She said to add in ion gut health. Of course, that would be very important. Like you said, go to the gut. Cyruta Plus to help rebuild that gut wall. Lee enzymes, and protofood also would be very good. Protofood would be wonderful. Just 1 a day of protofood. It's the essential amino acids, so you can help rebuild after you've done all this cleansing. That would be really important. I'm so sorry for you. Ugh. And Leon in Iowa said stress relief. Okay, let me tell you about stress. Back in, back in 2015, and we were always going to talk about this on a webinar, but I'm not going to today. We were rushing our son to the hospital. I was driving, and I swear I had a heart attack. He was dying in our back seat. And anyway, I felt this crushing pain on my chest. My left arm went numb, and we stopped the car. Jack ran around, and he started driving, and we rushed him to the hospital. And he did live, but I think I had a heart attack, and ever since then, I've been feeding my heart. And I stay on really good supplementation, and it does pretty well. But then about maybe a year ago or so, maybe less than a year ago, I can't remember, we got this brand new Wi-Fi system in our house, and I started getting heart palpitations and tachycardia and arrhythmias and everything.
And you just couldn't calm down. You couldn't do anything that could help you to go, oh.
No,
You were just wound up like a really tight
it was
ball.
very stressful. Anyway, so I took, again, all the stuff, the magnesium, and tried to tap down my sympathetic overdrive, and Cardio Plus and Cardiotrophin and Cap B Core, and I was barely managing it. But then we decided it must be this new Wi-Fi system we put in here, because it had 9 nodes throughout our house. So we ripped that system out. We put another very expensive system in that only had 4 nodes through our house. And I thought that would help my heart, but it didn't. I mean, it didn't get rid of the symptoms I was having. And one day after putting that in, we were driving down the freeway, and I thought I was having another heart attack. Remember that? I just felt like crushing pain. I was just freaking out. So you know what we did? Because of our podcast, well, actually that was after, but we drove straight to Paul Bear Tarot and Synergy Science and walked in the door, and I said, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving until I have, and we bought all 3 of these products.
Yeah, right then and there.
All 3 of these products. We now sell the Shield on our website, but the other 2 are so expensive. You have to go to Synergy Science. I'll give you that in just a minute. But Paul was proud to show us around the whole building, and we just love him. He's a really good friend. But the whole time I'm like, no, I have to get home. I have to get home. And he told us, I bought this Q Shield right here. And he said, it takes about 48 hours for it to settle into your home. So the whole time I'm like, we gotta go. This is a great place. I love looking at everything. But I just was antsy. So we got it home, I actually put it wrongly in my bedroom because we were so nervous. Instead of putting it out in the middle of the house where it is now, in fact, I can show it to you if you can see. It's right there. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there it is. So sitting right down there. But I came home and I put it in my bedroom, and I just waited 2 days because I was just like, and I'm still taking all my supplementation. After 2 days, I have had absolutely no heart problems whatsoever. 0. I mean,
yeah, she used to wake me up in the middle of the night, 123, 125.
I could hear my heart
rate.
beating. And I could get through it with Strophanthum, remember? Strophanthum and magnesium and Cataplex G and Mintran and, all these different things. But since I put that right there in our living room, I have not had one problem. And those are not cheap. Those are not cheap at all, but it was worth it for me. I was afraid I was going to die. It was crazy. The EMF in our house, we also have a bunch of stuff on our chimney. It's another long story, but I just had to do it. So I bought that for my house. I bought the little one for our office, and I put it right in my office, not because I'm totally selfish, but because that is the middle of our office. Our office has an L shape. And then I bought one of these too for my car, and it fits right in the cup holder, and you can travel with it. And it protects you 8 feet around you. So like a 16-foot radius for these little ones. And we sell that on our website. But this one, you have to go to, for the home or the QMax, you have to go for 10% off QMax. Go to synergyscience.com, Dr. Jack, And you can get 10% off if you use that link. So we would appreciate that. And also you'll save money. There's a really cool website called antennasearch.com. You go to that website, type in your address, and it will tell you all the antennas around your house.
That are filling your house with EMF.
Yep. I don't know if I described that correctly, but anyway, that really saved my life. And so I had to tell you that. And Gerald from California says having a strong immune system. Like last month, we recommended this for your immune system, and look at that price. Look at that,
Is that price correct?
$70 with VIP. You got it for $60. Look at this new price. We're taking that off, $57. Dropping down.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. And I'm telling you, this is the incredible prices that we got from Standard Process. So lowest prices ever. You do have to call our office though. You won't see those prices. You will see them on our website, but you can't order off of our website. So anyway, just wanted to let you know the immune system pack, let's back up just a little bit. Oh, there it is. Would be really helpful for a strong immune system. We talked about that a lot last month, but you take that twice a day, preferably on an empty stomach, would do a better job. Let's go to the next one. This is Margaret from Utah. I need to take a good supplement for my brain and for my memory. She's concerned about keeping cancer at bay, and what's the best supplement for supporting brain health? We had a sister-in-law, Jack's brother's wife, that came to us. I remember her typing on Facebook saying, Mary, I need some help with brain support. And her Facebook is still up. She's, I think, a year older, maybe 2 years older than I am. She started getting dementia that turned into Alzheimer's when she was 52. Took her, I think, 10 years to die. And she started texting me saying, what can I do? What can I do? And she did come to our clinic, but she was a little bit advanced. She lived in Denver, and she was a little bit advanced, couldn't remember anything I said. But I'll tell you what I did recommend for her. I put her on GAPS, but she couldn't do it. She was just a little bit too far gone. But I put her on Neurotrophin PMG. I can cut and paste these into here, into the, maybe I can't, because it's a lot. Because you want specific supplements. Yes, I can. Let me see if I can do it here. There we go. Brain, Neurotrophin PMG, that's in the chat. If you guys want to go look in chat. Neuroplex, Tuna Omega-3 for the brain, Ginkgo Forte, Gotu Kola is a wonderful, wonderful brain supplement. And for keeping the cancer at bay, the long life energy enzymes. I did recommend some stuff for her on Facebook, but I don't think she got it. She's the one that we tell the story about long life energy enzymes, where she, her husband, Jack's brother, would take her to go get her hair done. And she got to the point where she wouldn't get out of the car. She didn't recognize anybody. She wouldn't go in to get her hair done anymore. And they started her on the long life energy enzymes, 6 a day. And I don't know when they gave them to her, empty stomach or what, I don't know. And the next time they took her to get her hair done, she jumped out of the car, walked right in and talked with people and just did wonderful. I don't know how much that they were able to really do with her for a long time. So unfortunately she did die, but I would get on those supplementations and including the long life energy enzymes. I hope that helps, because brain health is so important. And eat carnivore, stop eating salads. Eat carnivore, lots of fat, lots of protein. We should put together a GAPS video or GAPS podcast. We have done a bunch of GAPS podcasts, but you could go to our GAPS podcast, just type GAPS in our website. Here's enzymes and GAPS. Oh, this is Dave Bona. So on Amazon, he got glioblastoma. That's cancer in the glue of your brain. You can't operate on it. It's really sad. He was a pretty young guy. Anyway, he started taking our Lee enzymes and he wrote this protocol. He's since died, but he lived 4 years. 4 years.
I think he was given 12 weeks.
Wow. 12 weeks to 4 years. I saw his protocol. He wasn't just taking Lee enzymes. It was a pretty big protocol. He had a lot of synthetics on there, which I didn't agree with, but he did take our Lee enzymes. It did, I'm sure it helped him quite a bit with extra years. Penny from California said, what are the benefits of the long life energy enzymes? I'm not going to go into that because that's all we've talked about.
Where
And
can she read more about it? Just go to
our website.
forbiddendoctor.com and under products, put in long life energy enzymes. There's a lot of information there about it.
Yeah, it's actually, this is one word, long life, but you'll still find it on our website. We have a lot of podcasts on it too. Type that into the podcast search bar. What's your major health concern? Getting older and getting frail. Yeah, I hear you. Long life will help with that. Ageless thyroid will too. And a lot of good food, good fat and protein food will help you stay strong. Brian from Florida. My dentist says my jaw pain is not coming from a dental problem. Oh, so he has jaw pain. That's his major health concern.
Oh.
So this is
Yeah,
you.
well, usually if you're having jaw pain and you go to the dentist and they take pictures and they look inside and they probe around and they say, listen, there's no cavities, there's no abscesses, we can't find it. We don't think it's a dental problem. It's probably an upper cervical chiropractic problem. The fifth cranial nerve, the trigeminal nerve, has 3 branches: the mandibular, the maxillary, and the ophthalmic. It comes out back here, it goes up over where cranial nerve 7 and 8, your hearing and facial muscles, nerves they all come together in 3. And then the trigeminal comes across the face. And as I said, it breaks into 3 branches. Any compression back here because of the misalignment can cause some of the most hellish pain man has ever experienced, called trigeminal neuralgia.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that's what this is. I'm just saying that the work we do is so effective for trigeminal neuralgia that I have 2 organic holistic dentists in the state, one in American Fork south of us, one in Bountiful north of us, who, when they have patients come in complaining of jaw pain and there's not an abscess or a cavity or something, they send them to us. And if they're going to do corrective work with
Their bite, an
appliance, they always send them to us first to make sure the jaw is centered on the face where it's supposed to be with the work that I do before they start their work. So often, if it's not a dental problem and it's jaw pain, now it could be a parasite thing, because we have a podcast on parasite problems with the jaw.
do we?
But usually it's a misalignment problem.
Yeah. I don't think we have a parasite podcast.
Yeah, we do.
We do?
On the jaw.
I don't
Yeah, we
remember.
do.
Okay. Okay, there's been a few questions coming in here.
Because it's an hour.
Herbavital, yeah, recommended. Herbavital is a wonderful anti-aging,
It has 4 herbs in it that are very powerful.
has resveratrol that helps your telomeres, apparently. I don't know. But it's very, very helpful. Jack goes into work every morning and takes 4 Herbavitals.
That gets me through the day at 100 miles an hour.
Oh, and Steve raised his hand. Wow, love it. Let's see if we can figure out how to do this. There we go. I'm going to allow you to talk. Steve, you want to just turn on your, oh, your mic's turned off. Oh,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I sent a chat and autocorrect messed it up. The product that you started the show with, is that a substitute for the Medi-Herb gut thing that I wasn't able to get the last time I came in there? They said you couldn't get it. It's a Medi-Herb gut, like the environment. I forget the name of the product. You probably
Cat's
know it.
Claw? Was it Cat's Claw?
No.
It's a gut. It's
Flora. It was Gut Flora. Yes, yes,
right.
yes.
Gut flu. And that's not available. So is this new product a substitute for that?
It's totally different, but you know what? I'm kind of moving away from gut flora because people think the fungus is just terrible and we shouldn't have any parasites, we shouldn't have any fungus, we shouldn't have any of these things inside of us, and it's just not true.
All right. Just so you know, I'm a fun guy.
Important. What's that?
I said, just so you know, I'm a fun guy.
That's great. Yeah, so we need fungus. We want the body to balance it out. We don't want to be taking these wormwood very, very strong herbal. They're medicinal and killing things, just like we don't want to take antibiotics and kill everything. We want the body to balance itself out. We don't want to play doctor with our body. It just never works well. So the gut flora is out. I don't know that I'm going to use it that much anymore. The Ion Gut Health is not the same thing at all, but I'm going to.
Better, right?
I think it's better. I think it's more important. Let's put it that way. It doesn't do, the fungus. It doesn't kill fungus. I don't want to kill anything. I would rather support rather than kill.
I got it.
Yeah.
I didn't know Zoom had autocorrect.
Did it? Does it? I don't know.
Well, look at that chat. It said it was weird. It just messed it all up.
Oh, we got 6 open. Okay, well, we're going to move on. We got 6 open.
All right.
I didn't even see.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you so much for actually talking and raising your hand.
Thanks, Steve.
That's fun. We don't have people do that very often. So this person, let's not give her name, that said her 20-year-old son that doesn't have testosterone, he did have all childhood vaccines, but no soy. He's also on thyroid medication. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, see, and it's not medication. I hate it when they say that. It's thyroid, I'm getting hoarse. It's thyroid hormone. It's not medication. It does not, well, it does medicate, but not in a good way. It makes his own thyroid atrophy, because why would your thyroid produce thyroxine if you got thyroxine flowing through your bloodstream every single morning? I mean, it wouldn't. And so your own thyroid will just atrophy.
Well, if he's had all those vaccinations, he has serious gut dysbiosis. And he's got to start with gut biome and gaps. So the gut ion.
And I think you're a VIP. I'm not going to say your name because I don't know that you want us to. I don't know.
Questions and answers.
I don't know. But anyway,
ion gut thing.
Yeah, ageless thyroid. Yeah, I definitely would try to get him off that thyroid medication, that hormone, as soon as possible, because he'll be dependent on it for life. He's only 20. You got to get his own you got to feed his own endocrine glands. That's what's so important. We always think about trying to regulate our hormones. This hormone replacement therapy is crazy. It's crazy making. It makes great changes, but so does cocaine. So, it doesn't heal. So I see ads all the time, big billboards, get rid of your depression. I don't know, all these different things. Come in for HRT therapy. Well, it's not. It's therapy. It's managing the symptoms, but it's not fixing anything, and you'll be much worse off. So you can never get off that. If you are on that 10 years, 20 years, and then you decide, I don't want to be on this hormone anymore, your own thyroid system, your own endocrine system is going to have a really hard time kicking back in. Okay, my son started having severe headaches about a month ago. He's had an MRI and is okay, works on computer all the time. He also has an ulcer from taking stuff for headaches. Yes, he needs to get on chlorophyll pearls.
He needs to see me.
Yes, but nutritionally, chlorophyll pearls for his ulcer, because that can be deadly. And he needs to take 6 to 9 or however many he wants. Just chew them up. Just take them all day long. I would recommend the EMF protection also, but I suspect he needs to see Jack. I don't know where you live. I think I recognize you. Anyway, come and see Jack. He gets rid of headaches like that, especially if it came on really quickly. Unless he did something strange, like he works on the computer all day. I think he needs some EMF protection. I think it's very important. And then go to our website, which is jackstockwell.com. It's a beautiful website, and you can text us on there, and you can also sign up for a free consultation and just talk to us. Okay, what's your protocol for macular degeneration? We have that on our website, but it's iPlex is the biggest thing.
That's spelled IPLEX.
Yeah. Is there anything we can do to protect ourselves from the shedding from people who are around that we've been vaccinated? Yes, I would take 12 to 24 Cyruta Plus a day, and I would take 2 ProtaFood a day. And maybe even some chlorophyll complex.
That will help to greatly protect from clotting.
Yeah, the chlorophyll will help cleanse your blood, but man, this is so horrific. That's the best we've come up with so far, just to rebuild your body, the organs of excretion as best we can. And then don't travel anywhere. Just stay home right now. This is the time to social distance, not before. And then another person says, I'm taking 6 Irido Plus for capillary strengthening twice a day. Is that enough? And is it better with food or away from food? You need to take a little bit more. I'd take 6 in the morning, just chew them up, 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. And I would add Echinacea Premium. I would take 3 of those a day for vascular strength. Horsetail Complex is pretty good too, but I would do Echinacea Premium, 3 of those a day. And again, if you call our office, you get the best prices. We've drastically reduced them. And then Irido Plus, and it doesn't matter if it's with food or not with food. The Echinacea, sometimes they say herbs are better on an empty stomach, but just get them in you. I would do at least 3 Echinacea a day. Okay, I think we're done with those unless I missed one. Oh, Sean, we missed him. I have a friend who's been diabetic for many years, and in the process, he has developed glaucoma pretty bad. He recently told me it is getting worse. What do you suggest he should do?
AC carbamide, about 6 of them in the morning, 6 of them at night. AC carbamide will reduce osmotic pressure.
Yeah.
And that's purely what glaucoma is. Glaucoma has osmotic pressure, optical pressure that starts growing inside the eyeball because there's a little tiny canal called the canal of Schlem, Schlem, S-C-H-L-E-M or something like that, where the fluid is constantly draining out of the eye into the sinus passages for removal from the body. If that gets blocked up, it can lead to blindness, obviously. He's probably on drops to help to reduce the ocular pressure, but AC carbamide, 6 of them in the morning, 6 of them at night.
Yeah. Oh, Ambrosia, you're putting such great stuff on the chat. I just realized it's just coming to us. You should change it to all attendees next month because we're done here. So, oh, that's great. Okay, she said she will next month. Thanks so much for helping out, Broge. And I think let's just flip through these. Oh yeah, join our texting blast. We do specials on those. Our prices are so low now that we don't even think you need specials. But anyway, you can join our texting blast and we'll tell you things like the webinars coming up and stuff like that. You just text the word healthy to 41411. And there is our little beautiful Forbidden Doctor disclaimer. And there's the one we have to show. And there's our last slide. And thanks so much. I'm sorry this went so long, and it will be sent out as soon as I get it from Zoom. We'll send it out to everybody, and maybe we can get them on our website in the future because I think these are pretty good. Anyway, we appreciate you all. Do you have anything to say?
That's it.
So I'm going to stop the
We're
share.
off to Hollywood.
Yeah. Close all this. And we're going to go film. We have 15 minutes to get there, so we got to really hurry. I'm trying to figure out how to stop it. I don't even know how. Here we go. And see you later.